A very, very, very good afternoon slash good evening, everyone. I hope everyone's had a good weekend. Today, it's been a little bit bad, the weather, but nevertheless, I've been out the front sorting a few bits out of my bike, to get it out of the garage, because we're going out to Mill Lane Wednesday to MX track in Lingfield, which is my local track. So I've had to just get a few bits sorted out on my bike today. It's a hobby. It's an expensive hobby, but I love it with a passion. It's something what I've loved all of my life. Anyway, guys, this content is not going to be about my motorbike. This content is going to be about Send, Hmp Send, which was a detention centre, which I'd done. I think it was around 1981 or maybe 1982. If I look into my previous convictions, which I've got, which I put in a suitcase, and I'll be able to tell the exact date what I was in there. But yeah, the reason why I'm saying this is because I uploaded a video just now, or earlier on today, was it today? No, sorry guys, sorry, my bad. I've got to wake up a little bit, and I've had a long day today, so I wasn't going to upload nothing, but I thought to myself, I haven't uploaded nothing on my channel for a few days, and I don't want my subscribers thinking that I've given up on my channel. So yeah, someone put a comment underneath one of the videos, and he said that his dad was a prison officer or a screw in Hmp Send, and he didn't realise that it was that violent in there, or he didn't realise that the screws were that violent towards the inmates. Well, this is what I want to have a little chat to you about, guys. I went to Balham Juvenile Court. This is when I went to Send, and I had numerous convictions, numerous charges, not convictions, numerous charges. By the way, I'm vaping CBD, so it's really chilled me out. It's not THC, it's CBD, and it gives you a bit of a different effect. It just calms you down and takes the anxiety away a little bit, because I'm a pretty anxious type of a guy, so it's working for me very, very, very well. And yeah, whatever works for you, stay with it, stick with it, and it's working for me. So whatever works for you, different horses for different courses. But anyway, guys, let's get back to the subject, what we was talking about. So I went to Balham Juvenile Court. I had numerous charges, all silly charges, to be honest with you, more like motoring offences, criminal damages and things like that. But they all mounted up, and I went to Balham Juvenile Court probably after around going there for about 6 or 7 times. I remember dragging my mum up through them courts, and then up to South Western Magistrates Court, all of my teenage years, and I've got a lot of remorse for it. My mum's passed away now, and but that's part of my history. It's another story. But yeah, this day in mention, guys. My dear old mum come with me like she did with everywhere, and we wasn't expecting it. But I went up court, and the judge gave me 3 months custodial sentence, which was in Send. I wept, I cried my eyes out as I got took down into the cells below the court by the 2 screws that were standing waiting to take me down. I looked over at my mum, and my mum had her head in her hands. She was crying her eyes out, and at this stage, I was 14 years of age. Yes, 4 years of age, just a little kid, and certainly didn't really deserve the treatment what I suffered in Hmp Send in the next coming weeks. But I remember going below the courts and crying my eyes out, getting locked into a cell, and the screw opened the door, and he said, "You've got a visit from your mum." And they let me go into another little room with my mum, and we was cuddling each other and crying, and she was trying to comfort me, to say it'd go very quick, and she'd be there to visit me every fortnight. But because I was a kid and I loved my mum very dearly, it broke me. It literally broke me. And I cried all the way there. So yeah, the van come. It was a full transit. Mark 1 Ford Transit, a minibus. I'll never forget it. It was blue. It had minibus windows up in it, and it had like coach seats in it, seats all the way up and down it. And there was around, I think there was 4 or 5 of us what got sentenced that day at Balham Juvenile Courts, and we got handcuffed to the bars on the window, and there was 3 or 4 screws in the van, and we was screamed at, not told, in a pleasant way. I'm talking in a very, very, very violent way, especially for a 14-year-old kid. To go through what we went through, and this was just getting there. So yeah, they tormented us all the way there, told us to keep quiet, we're not allowed to talk, and you know, because I was a little bit lipping, I was young, and I thought I was Jack the Lad. I didn't really listen to that, and I speaking to the guy behind me, or having fun with the guy behind me, and one of the screws smacked me straight round the side of my face, clean round the side of my face. He actually hit me that hard that I see stars. I didn't get knocked out, but I see stars. And he said to me, "That's nothing, Barnett." He said, "When you get to reception, we're gonna see how much of a big lad you think you really are." So you can imagine how I was feeling, what I was going through at this time at 14 years of age. Now these screws, which was in their 30s and 40s, big massive men. I was only like 5'4", probably 6, 7 stone wet, nothing of me at all. And now they're telling me that when I get to reception at Hmp Send, they're going to see what I'm all about. And I was literally shitting myself. So basically, I was the last one out of the van. For some reason, that always happens to me. I always get the blunt end of the stick. And the other 3 guys or 4 guys walk through reception, and I got told to run to reception. And when I got into reception, one of the screws put his foot out, sent me flying. I got back up again, and they took a piss out of me and asked me what I was doing falling over. So this was just at reception. After standing behind a line and getting in the shower, being made to get in a cold shower, freezing cold, and then, well, sorry, first of all we had to have our hair cropped off. So there was a barber there waiting for us with a set of shears. He cut all her hair off. That was to like, well, I don't know what that was for, but it was just after the Borstal days at Send, and that's what they should do in Borstal. So they carried that over. But I suppose in a way it's just in case anyone had nits or fleas or anything like that, hygiene stuff like that. So I didn't really blame them. I didn't really mind them doing that because, as you can see, I ain't got hardly no hair now. So, and I've never been one of them to put gel on my hair and things like that. Yeah. But yeah, I was the last one out of the van, and they put the fear of God into me at reception, and put us put us in front of the barber, which was another inmate. He took all our hair off, and then they made us get in a cold shower, and then we had to stand on the line just with a pair of shorts on, and all the doors, all the windows. This was in the winter, freezing cold. I think there was snow outside, and they purposely left all the doors and the windows open and made us have a cold shower. And then I had to toe the line and take all my kit and listen to all the crap what they tell you at reception when you go to prison. So then what happened is we all got located onto a wing, and you got a corridor called the M1 corridor. So if anyone's been in Send, any of my YouTube followers, you'll know what I'm talking about. And it's still there today. I think they've got illegal immigrants in there or something like that. But yeah, I got given a bed kit, 2 green blankets and 2 green sheets, which were very much like army, and my kit, and we got marched to the M1, the beginning of the M1, and the screw told me to run up the M1 with my kit underneath my arms as fast as I could to get to the screw at the other end so that we could be located into our cell. And silly old me, I should have known really, but because I've just got a slap on the way there anyway, so I knew that they didn't like me from the minute I got in there. My number was up straight away. So yeah, as I was running up this corridor, I didn't notice a little doorway off of the M1 corridor, and the screw come out and put his foot out, and I'd sent me flying with my kit, and I actually broke my nose at the time. My nose went completely splattered because it hit the ground head first. And the screw pulled me up off the ground and asked me what I was doing running into him. So he actually made me believe that I'd run into him, and he wanted to give me more punishment for running into him. So yeah, this is what happened. This was the brutality what we actually went through, guys. Anyway, after getting up off the floor, wiping my nose with my sleeve of my arm, we got sent into a little corridor and it had single cells in it. So basically, we had to stay in these single cells on our own for 1 week, and that was called reception. And that was to monitor you and watch, see how you was reacting to being in prison, and because you had people like suicide, you had people what was committing suicide on a regular basis, and cutting their wrist and self harm and things like that. So they had to monitor you in the cells for a week, and yeah, we was told whilst we was in these cells for a week that if we ever spoke out of the cell window, which really was hard not to do because the window was, you couldn't open it. It had bars up the window, but as I looked out of my window, I could see the billets opposite me, which were dormitories. And after you spend a week in reception, you go into these dormitories. So for some reason, I heard a couple of people talking out of the window in the dormitory, and it it really became apparent to me very quickly that one of the voices what I was hearing sounded very, very, very familiar to me, and I shouted over to the person who I think it was, um, and to my surprise, he shouted back. It was one of my friends off of the street. It was a guy called John Bakeman. I haven't heard from John for a long, long time, but I'm sure quite a few of my followers will know him, John Bakeman. And there was Darren Bakeman, his brother, and they had a sister called Cheryl Bakeman, and the dad was called John Bakeman too, and they lived on the circle at Rose Hill. So yeah, I knew all of them lot, and I started shouting over to John. I said, "Hello, John," and I told him what I'd been through. Like I'd been punched in the face, and he kept going like that to me, "Be quiet, be quiet." 'Cause he was like, he'd been through the shit what I've just been through in a dormitory, and he was trying to clue me up a little bit. So he was going like that, "Be quiet, don't shout so loud, don't shout so loud." And as I was at the window, my door cracked open. It's probably about 5 o'clock in the afternoon. My door cracked open. One of the screws put his arm around my neck, put me in the neck hold, and literally held me on the floor and choked me out. Um, it felt like this was going on for a long, long time, but in hindsight, it was probably only for around 20 seconds. But I didn't lose consciousness, but yet I was just about to lose consciousness. It was one of them ones where he put me in a neck hold and put me on the floor. And then as I got up off the floor, he screamed at me, "Barnett." And I said, "Yes." And he said, "No, you answer me by yes, sir, and you answer me by your number." So my number was AJ8141 Barnett, and every time I spoke to a screw in, or you spoke to a screw in there, you had to address them by your name and by your number. And I didn't realise this at first, and I got a good few slaps off of the screws before I learnt this. But yeah, this is this one thing that I went through. I got through that week in the dormitory. I didn't get no more slaps after that, but my card was definitely numbered by the screws, and they knew who I was by then. They looked at me like I was a troublemaker. So I went on to the dormitory, and my mate John was up there, and it was like billets in the dormitory. You had about 20 beds on one side and about 20 beds on the other side, and we had to march every single morning. We had to do bed packs. We had to box all our clothing off and put it into a locker. Every morning we had to stand at the edge of our bed, stand at attention like a soldier for the screw to come along and check you out, to check your shoes, to check your uniform, to check your bed. If any bit was out of place, it'd rip all your sheets off, rip all your clothes out, and make you do it all again. And then for punishment, if one person was seen to be talking in the dormitory after lockup, the screw, this was during the winter too, the screw would come onto the dormitory. It'd open every single window in the dorm. It'd open the back gate and the front gate so that the wind was howling through the dormitory. We couldn't get out because there was bars on the doors, but the behind the bars, beyond the gate, there was a wooden door, and he used to open it up. And I can still remember now me standing on the edge of that bed, literally shivering for hours and hours at a time, just down to one person talking in there. The screw come onto the dome and asked who was talking, and he said, right, if someone doesn't own up for this talking, everyone's going to pay the punishment. And that person who was talking was so frightened to own up that he couldn't own up because he knew that he'd got an hiding. So, guys, this is this one little story. But I just wanted to put out there. But to be honest with you, I've got when I come out of there, I've done 3 months in there. We was made to run around a massive football pitch every morning at 6 o'clock with in the winter too, with all our clothing on, and we had to do 3 laps. And if you didn't do them 3 laps, you would get a slap, and you was made to do them 3 laps. And then when we come back from there, we had to go back to the dormitory, get dressed, and get ready for an inspection on the parade, which was just out the front of the prison, or inside the prison on the forecourt. We'd all stand to attention while the prison governor walked around the parade and searched us all for shiny boots, anything out of place or anything like that. If you found anything out of place, it'd drag you out, throw you back into the dormitory, and you'd get severely punished. The gymnasium was made, even fat guys, I felt used to really feel sorry for them, because even fat guys, what was very unhealthy and unfit, were made to do physical training. And when I say physical training, I mean heavy circuits. Something what you wouldn't even imagine a 14-year-old could do. But yeah, we was made to do these circuits every single day. And I didn't mind them because now I appreciate them circuits, because nowadays I'm 53 and I'm fit as a fiddle and I look like this now. Peace.